Right, so I'm just going to give you a few tips today. I'm going to be patching an outside. So first thing I've done is I've just knocked off the outside. When patching in, make sure you know what your levels are like, because if you can see here, I've just put a tape all the way down there. Basically, it's got a kick, so I'm going to get rid of that kick so that I can feather it in all nicely. So that's why I've put the tape down. I'm just going to cut it down. Tip number 2 is I've probably got 2 bags of sand and cement to mix up, but I don't want to be carrying my mixer around with me, so you can do it 2 ways. You can mix it by hand, or you can mix it with your normal battery powered mixer. Normally they've got metal blades, but I'm going to be using my MixMate. I always use my MixMate on my thing. I like the fact that it's plastic. So when I'm actually going to be using it in the barra, I'm not going to have any problems of it actually catching and scratching the barra. It's just going to keep it all nice and smooth because it's... The first thing I'm going to do is put 1 bag of sand in. That's roughly 4 shovelfuls. So I'm going to put 1 bag in, and I'm going to open the other one, and I'm going to put 2 shovels in from that. So I've got 6 red sand in, and then I'm just going to put 2 cement with it. So alternatively, you could just use a yellow Gorilla tub for mixing your sand cements, but I'm doing it in the barra because I think it's a bit quicker for me, because I can just use my shovel to actually get underneath it all and just help it bringing it up to the top. Whereas with it in a yellow tub, it gets a bit drier at the bottom, so it just makes it a little bit hard work. Right, so that's ready to go. I'm now going to go and chuck it on the walls. So I'm going to be starting from the top. So I always work my way from the top down. This is just so that I can control the thickness as I'm coming down, because I'm constantly working into the stuff. So I've just wet the walls just to make sure that I'm controlling the suction. With this brick, you can actually find that it can suck too quickly, and then you'll have trouble with it actually flaking off later on. So you want to wet the walls before starting. Other alternatives to water is to actually use PVA or SBR. So that's a good way of controlling the suction as well. Right, so now that I've just finished scratching, I'm going to want to leave this now. So ideally you want to get on this the next day, because it's going to be when the suction's the easiest to control. But if you do have to leave it a few more days, basically you're just going to have to use some water to help control the suction. Right, so this is a few days later. Same again, I'm going to be using my mixing drill to mix my sand cement. So you can just use your shovel to mix the sand cement. I used to do that a lot with my dad, but now that I've got a mixer, it just takes a little bit of the stress out of it, so it doesn't hurt your back as much. So today the sun is actually bang on where I'm going to be working, so it's actually going to dry out a bit quicker. So what I'm going to end up is wetting the walls a bit more, just to make sure that I can control the suction. So you can see here I've left my scratch coat just below, so when I'm putting my top coat on now, I can meet up nicely to where the pebble's going to meet up. So I've got all my pebble ready now, and I've got my bags ready to go down for when I'm pebbling. So I'm just going to put the top coat on now and make sure that I get it as neat as possible all the way down. You also want to make sure that you wet down on the existing pebble, just so that it will all tie in nicely, because you can sometimes get extra suction in those areas. So if you can see at the bottom, I'm actually collecting the pebble on the bags, and then I'm just pouring the bags into my buckets, just so I'm saving it as I'm going along. So this is the next one I've got to do. This one is going to be a lot more awkward because the actual angle I've got to actually make up. It's a bit awkward, as you can see. So I'm just going to mix a little bit more stuff because the last thing I want is to be caught short. So I'm just going to chuck a little bit more sand cement in ready, give it a quick mix up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sand cement on. I've got my speed skim I'm going to use just to help me get a nice straight line because it's nice and light to use. I can use my trowel and my speed skim at the same time to get a nice straight line. So I'm pebbling the awkward side first, and I'm using my trowel, and then I'm throwing the pebble into it to get the straight line, and then I've just used my speed skim just to flatten it off to make sure that it's all nice and flat. That's the easiest way of doing it because you can actually pebble while holding your trowel. So here's a little disclaimer: you can always tell when pebble's been patched. It doesn't matter how good you get it, it always shows, and that's why patching is okay when you know it's going to get painted, but realistically you want to be doing the whole shabam to make sure that it's all consistent all the way through if you want it to look best. I am working my way to 1,000 subscribers, so if you can hit the subscribe button, that would be great. Basically, I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So my plan is once I'm able to do live streams and stuff, I might be able to do Q&As. Please help me on my way to get to 1,000 subscribers and I'll keep the content coming. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you find any of this interesting, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, thank you very much for watching and I'll catch you on the next video. Don't forget, I drop these videos every Tuesday. Right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.